Hello, 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 hello. I've been missing for a while. I've been missing, I think, for 2 months, maybe 3 months. I think it's closer to 3 months. And I just thought I'd give you the backstory of it. We have sold up our home in Cape Town, and I sold it up because of a project, a long term project that I'm actually working on. And I couldn't live in Cape Town and pursue the project because the ingredients are not in Cape Town. So I moved closer to where the raw ingredients are. But more on that I will drop as I evolve with it. It's still very much in its infancy. But we sold up our home. We've been here now a month. Outside. I'm 15 kilometers, which is about 7 miles outside a tiny village of Bathurst in the Eastern Cape. I think there are about 6,000 people that live in the village. It's a old historic village, and I'll drop hints of where it is, what it is, and as I move around it, still trying to figure my way out of it. But I'm basically living on a farm, and my whole mindset had to actually change in the fact that I'm 15 kilometers, 7 miles away from milk, sugar, flour, any bare basics. If I want to do a proper month end or weekly grocery shop of all the staples, I'm actually 20 kilometers away from the fairly decent sized town. Failing which, if I really want to go into a city, I'm 2 hours away from that. So it's a case of I can't run out of eggs, I can't run out of sugar. I actually have to do some serious planning. And my idea is to try and live as much within, like, grow my own food and do my own canning, as well as actually grow the bakery, which I had to close down the Cape Town one because we're 10 hours away from Cape Town. And that's where a lot of my raw ingredients are coming from. So I'm juggling to find out where I can get my seeds because I mill my own seeds. So it's a case of making connections in the village to say, can I drop 200 kilos of stuff off at you? And they look at you as if you say, yeah, no, not a problem. It's a case of, before it would be a case of, no, I can't do that. I'm interfering with my, and I've, I've had fantastic responses to my strange requests. And people have been very forthcoming on that. So this is a guest farm. So they're not actually farming any farming anything. I suppose they farm people. And there's 5 guest houses on the farm. And we have we actually hired this house sight unseen in theory. When we decided we were going to sell our house, we sold it, but it was a case of, it was a cash buy, and all of a sudden, 3 weeks down the line, instead of 3 months, 3 weeks, we had to get out. And it was a case of, we have nowhere to go to. So I did put a post out on the community's Facebook group, and my landlord actually said, we actually have a very old farmhouse, the original farmhouse of the area, that we'd love to rent out to you. So I thought, well, that's fine. That would be fantastic. So we took it. She did a sort of run through and said, yeah, it has 4 bedrooms, it has a kitchen, a bathroom, it has the bare necessities. And we thought, well, there's not much of a choice because we need somewhere to stay. But on the flip side, it was a case of, she actually thought she still had more time to actually repair stuff. And there were bits of the roof that needed to be repaired. It was structurally sound, but we have tin roofs, zinc roofs, corrugated iron roofs. Don't know. They're roofs with, yeah, they rust. So they had 3 weeks to clean it up. So everybody was in a bit of a mad rush. But you know what? We managed to do it. We split our journey from Cape Town in two, in the fact that I brought 2 cats with me as well. So they were in the car, and had to account. They couldn't live for 10 hours in the car without going to the loo or without food or anything else. The one cat locked up decided, I'm going into hibernation. I'm not actually going to deal with this. Yes, locked up is his actual name. And the reason being is he was found in our old property in the gardening shed. And we surmised he'd been there about 10 days. His previous owners had just abandoned him. So he got into the shed to hide away and he got locked in there. It did take us 4 days to get him out of gentle coaxing and being aware. And the only reason we knew he was in there was we smelled cat urine. But locked up is now quite happy and he's here. The other one is Space Invader. Yes, I do name them strangely, sorry. Space Invader just appeared on an old tree and said, hello, I'm moving in. And she moved in. So both of them have got their own characteristics. Space Invader is literally, oh, this is a new area. Let me go and investigate. Locked up looks at you and said, Mom's bed is the safest place for me. So I actually am physically taking them out for a walk and getting them acclimatized. But we have the most amazing bird life that is in the trees. We have behind me, I think it's behind me and further down, there are five um, wild fig trees that are over 100 years old. And that's kind of wow on there. So we have these orange wild aloes that are all blooming at the moment. So we have honeysuckle birds. I know nothing about a bird. I mean, a bird tweets. I can tell you about a dove, a wagtail, a muzzy, because those were in the other garden. But we have a hoopoe. Oh, you know what we have that visits us occasionally? A wild warthog. He appears to be quite young, and he wanders through the property. Tends to prefer early morning, very early morning, or the evening, and you can see when he's been here, the garden's being dug up. But you know what? We've chosen to live within their community, so we do live within their community. And if the garden gets dug up, plant it or move it on or whatever. We also have some buck that run through here. Um, my husband has seen a nyala. I haven't been privileged on that, but evidently they are around. And we have wild hares that are here. So my neighbors are interesting. We have a game farm. In fact, it's a game lodge. You can go and visit the animals in there on the one side of us, and on the other side we have a cat sanctuary. And as I go and visit them, I will film them out, introduce you to them. But the whole idea is to not only make this about baking, it's a case of how I have adjusted my recipes um, from a very wet Cape Town to a very dry Bathurst. I mean, in Cape Town at 13 degrees, we'd be absolutely freezing with hats and coats and all the rest of it. Here, it's at the moment 8 degrees and the sun is out. I not cold. The mornings warm up at about 9:30. But as soon as that sun goes down at 4 o'clock, you can feel it. Oh, help, it's cold. Another thing is, I have these birds that walk around on the roof. And because it's a tin roof, you can hear them. Sometimes they sound like elephants that are walking on the roof. But you know what? I enjoy it. That's what I get woken up to. I've no idea what it is. But it's in that big tree at the back on there. So we also have a vegetable garden. Now, the vegetable garden is the size of my previous house's plot. At the moment, it's full of kale and weeds. Oh, there is a granadilla tree, which I'm rather enjoying, a passion fruit. I like eating those. So it's got an established lot. So the garden has been very much neglected, both the garden and the vegetable garden. So it's a case of figuring out how we can live within our resources, how we can actually create our own resources. Our water that comes in is rainwater. We do have a borehole, but it's 300 meters down the road that we need to switch it on if we want to water the garden or anything. But there is a pump inside the house that is a different pump that can do the washing machine. So we have all the modern things that we need. It's just that we have to go and fetch our rainwater from the rainwater tank, and our borehole water. We're going to actually have to analyze them and all the rest of that. Going to do that on Friday. But the borehole water is clear. It doesn't taste funky. So if it's drinkable, we'll use it. At the moment, I'm boiling it if I need it for anything. I have a separate kettle that boils that. So I'm boiling it and then I'm cooking the vegetables and that from it. So right now, I think we are actually going to go and have a look at the bakery. My old bakery, my original bakery was 200 square meters when I ran an ISO 22000 with 5 staff. I then went home to my original bakery to 26 square meters, and there was only me. I've walked away from retailers in total. That being said, there is a little deli shop in Bathurst who, in a conversation, asked me for bread. But I was asking a retailer, he's a super spa in Port Alfred, about certain ingredients that I use regularly in my cooking. And the conversation turned around, oh, why do you want it? Are you new? And it was a case of, I'm a gluten-free baker. Oh, we need. And he rattled them off. So there's a possibility I'll be making bread for them. And it's a case of how is my old recipe reacting to this recipe. So we shall see. Right now, we're, I think I'll take you for a walk and we can have a look at the bakery as it is at the moment. When we moved into it, it was a funky curtain that was hanging there. We tried to take the funky curtain down. We found a fruit bat. I mean, he was tiny, tiny, tiny. He was fast asleep, and we left him. Okay, so I'm not moving him. And we left him, and as we started clearing out the bake, we just left the curtain hanging there and moved a whole lot of stuff around. It used to be a laundry, so it still has a washing machine in it because the only place the washing can work. So it's a laundry converted into a bakery, and we managed to fit the functional parts of the bakery into it. I have my oven, I have my long working table, my other packing tables are filtered around the house on there. It's a case of figuring out how we're going to film, what we're going to film. And I just thought I'd do an introduction for you so that you can actually see where I've been, why I've been. So let's go for a walk. Hey, that is locked up. I don't know if we'll find Fluffy Cat around, but if we find her, we'll let you know. So, lounge. We're still unpacking, as you can see. It's a case of, and this is my kitchen. It's huge. And I have a suspicion that the bakery will flow into it. What I particularly like about this is I have a pantry. I've always wanted one, so that you can see what you're doing. You can unpack things. You can put your bottles and your preserving. Yeah, right. Am I ever going to get to my preserving on the scullery? So they're supposed to be separate. And then we have the bakery. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to actually just walk you through the one side. This is where all the ingredients are. And then on the other side, we have the working tables, the flowers. Okay, so every square inch, that's the mill that I mill my flowers on. Washing machine, as I told you. And this is the window where we had the bat hanging around. So it's a case of functional parts of it. If we go around, it's a case of storage, ingredients, labels. Every square inch of this has been used. And if necessary, we can still put some shelves in there. And then we're onto the other side. We've actually moved the not so urgent stuff into it and stuff that can live outside. So that's what, oh, I need to show you my vegetable garden. I mean, anybody know what I can do with kale? We need to be careful. You'd think it's seriously bumpy roads as we walk around this place. Have to be very much aware. Yeah, this is part of my experiment. We need to clean it up on there. But that is a vegetable garden. My granadella tree. I have lots of kale and weeds, as I told you. And let's get it. It's huge. So that's what I've been up to. What have you been doing? What would you like me to bake first? I mean, what would you like to learn? Let's get this moving. I'll see you in the next video.